How far does Trump have to take this for y'all to realize this is 1930s Germany? How far does he have to take this for y'all to realize this is 1940s Italy? This is Mussolini. This is fascism at its highest. It's so infuriating.
I want people to know that this is a fascist takeover in D.C. and that our youth are going to be directly impacted by this.
Get out of the way!
It doesn't matter about me. I will be fine. Our kids will not be.
This video really pissed me off this morning. Everything we've been told about harsh and unusual punishment, either A, don't apply during fascist takeover, or B, has never applied to black women. The woman y'all see in that video being arrested is Afeni, and on my grandfather's grave, she 10 toes down for the struggle. Roll the clip. Afeni was lawfully recording the interaction between Metro Police and 3 DC youth. Afeni paid her fare into the turnstile to get a better view of the cops interrogating. Within 5 minutes, they had drastically escalated, and they had put a boot in her face and sprayed her with pepper spray. The community alert. Tonight, the Metro Transit violently escalated and began to stop as an illegal fare evasion. Afeni was taken to the Howard University Hospital for the treatment of her injuries. We're awaiting updates on her condition and demand her immediate release. We're calling the community show up for Afeni with love, solidarity, and presence. Free her. Sorry I was trying to read it fast for y'all, but I hope y'all paying attention. American citizens are having the military sicked on them in their city of residence because the president manufactured a narrative around crime. And because individuals believe that black folks are inherently criminal, everybody bought into the narrative. Everybody that matters anyway. Afeni, that black woman, was there protecting the youth. When she went to jail, no matter how much hurt she was in, no matter how much pepper spray was in her eyes, she still was talking about the youth. Calling all black liberals, all black leftists, all the ADOS, all the FBA, all the Hebrew Israelites, all of the groups about the black shit. Where we at? We gonna let the orange man brutalize our community while we argue about theory, policy, and philosophy? What we doing? Lastly, if they give her a bond, I definitely got some money on sis bond. Do you?
Boy. So we got to continue our coverage of President Trump's crime crackdown that he is implementing in D.C. Now, there are a lot of people who are in full-blown panic mode over this crime crackdown because everybody knows who's committing a vast majority of the crimes in D.C., okay, and what that means, right, when you're tough on crime. That means that you're going to have a lot of young scholars, a lot of agents of chaos, a lot of youth, a lot of juveniles, okay. They're going to be targeted because, again, these are the people that are committing the crime, okay, particularly when you talk about black youth, okay, and this is why you have the black liberals and black activists upset and mad because there has been footage of federal agents along with local police raiding these neighborhoods, right? These neighborhoods where you have a lot of, again, black youth, and they are making arrests. Not only are they making arrests, but they are making an example out of the people that are arrested and putting their faces on the internet for everybody to see. Like, this is who we are cracking down on in DC. And that got a whole lot of people triggered and upset. Take a look.
So as part of Donald Trump's military takeover in DC, they are posting all of these photos of black men who they arrest and posting it to Twitter. This is insane because clearly due process has gone out the window because these are people arrested. We don't even know really on what grounds they were arrested, but they are posting photos of people, blasting them to the public White House account before they have even been convicted of a crime. I'm old enough to remember when y'all were trying to tell me that Kamala was going to lock all these black men up and that she locked all these black men up. Those people are so quiet right now because this is just crazy.
If you think Trump's plan to take over DC's police department is about catching crime, it's not. This is about stoking white fear, making black people seem dangerous. The Trump administration wasted no time, less than half a day before posting photos of black men they've arrested on the official White House social media pages. It's a calculated move to stigmatize black people, especially black men, as criminal thugs to be feared. There is not even a single white man that they have arrested and posted on the social media page, y'all. Here's the truth. Violent crime in DC is at a 20-year low. It's dropped since 2023 and 2024. White folks will think this is solely about distracting from the Epstein files, but the harm this stigmatization will have on our communities will be widely felt for for black people. They've been running this playbook on Latino.
First of all, fuck Donald Trump. Second of all, to the black people that are rationalizing Donald Trump taking over and militarizing DC streets under the pretext of crime, when crime in DC is at a 30-year low, you are part of the fucking problem too. And if it don't apply, let it fly. Okay, I don't need an announcement about how you haven't seen nobody say something. I'm telling you what I've seen with my own 2 eyes. Here is the thing. For anybody to believe that Donald Trump coming in with the military is a solution, and for anybody to think, even after all that we've seen from this administration, that it's going to only impact the so-called bad ones, is irrational. The bottom line is the reason why Donald Trump is taking over DC is because DC is still a predominantly black city. And he looks at blackness and criminality as being one and the same. And so if you think that the Donald Trump that has told the National Guard, do whatever it is that you want to do to people, the same motherfucker that sat up there and wanted to shoot Black Lives Matter protesters last time he was in office.
I don't know if you saw the video about what's happening in DC and how the police basically raided a black neighborhood, but black people are under attack as usual. Okay. Black people need white allyship in person. Okay. All this rah-rah on the internet, you know, we can't stand what's happening, da-da-da-da-da. Okay, prove it, okay? If you see something happening that's wrong, you should speak up about it. Black lives have always been on the line from the dawn of time, and I'm sick of talking about it, but I will never stop talking about it because we're tired of always being the ones that's doing the work, always being the ones that's on the front lines, protesting, trying to fight for our own rights.
He hates black people. He hates black people. He said terrible, dangerous cities like Oakland, Baltimore, DC, because they're majority black population cities. He hated black people when he took out 4 full-page ads in New York newspapers calling for the Central Park 5 to be executed. Innocent black children. He hated black people when he picked Haitian immigrants to bully because he knew dumbass white-skinned Latinos like me would fucking fall for that shit. He hates black people. He fucking hates black people. I don't know how much clearer he can get.
Yeah, so you see that, you heard that, okay? The people who claim they care about black people so much obviously don't care about the fact that a vast majority of the victims of those who are being shot and killed in DC are black. Okay, they're black. Okay, they're babies. Literally, babies. Okay? And where's the Al Sharptons? Where's the Benjamin Crumps? Where the race hustlers at? Right? Where they at? Where they at? While they are freaking out over Trump trying to crack down on criminals, none of these people have anything to say about who the criminals are killing. Right? But they got everything to say about trying to protect the criminals. Again, this is how ass backwards black people are. Right? This is how ass backwards we are. Okay? We root against the people who are trying to clean up black neighborhoods, right? Who are trying to make it safer for black people. This is who we root against, and we root for the criminals, the people who are killing black folks.
As President Trump is trying to make our city safer, Democrats think they know what he's exactly motivated by. You guessed it, racism.
I think it's very notable that each and every one of the cities called out by the president has a black mayor, and most of those cities are seeing historic lows in violent crime.
The president has always been intimidated by the intellectual prowess of black men, and so of course he would speak in those petite and puerile terms.
Do you think there's race driving this?
I won't say that's like the totality of it, but I absolutely think it is. Yes, there are homicides in my city. Yes, there is crime, but we don't think the same prescription of help is necessary.
Why is the president picking black cities?
The president isn't picking black cities. The president is trying to solve a problem. And it happens that black Americans who didn't give him a majority of their votes are going to be the beneficiaries.
Yeah, so apparently it is racist to protect black people, to save black lives, to stop black children from being murdered, to crack down on black criminals. All of this is racist in 2025, right? That is the level of stupidity we're at in our politics. And Yeah, but, you know, it's not stopping President Trump from continuing with the crackdown. Okay, apparently he is trying to ramp it up. Okay, he's sitting the National Guard in despite legal challenges from the Democrats running D.C.
Troops are now in the nation's capital as part of the Trump administration's federal takeover to combat crime. And we know more are now on the way tonight. This comes as the White House says troops already in Washington, D.C. may soon be taking new steps to secure the area and protect themselves. News Nation correspondent Libby Dean live at the White House with the latest on this. Libby.
Good evening, Natasha. White House officials tell me tonight that National Guard troops patrolling here in our nation's capital may soon start carrying weapons. This is a major shift after officials previously said the troops would not be armed on the streets of D.C., but would instead have access to their weapons on base. Now, the crime crackdown, though, not only adding weapons, but also more boots on the ground from a neighboring state, actually. West Virginia announcing today it's sending roughly 300 to 400 troops to the Capitol to help the president in his fight against crime here. Now, the Department of Defense actually explaining the increase in force to News Nation, saying, quote, the Secretary of Defense is authorized to mobilize additional National Guard forces as needed in coordination with state governors who may be asked to augment this mission. Let's take a listen here. So the Pentagon saying that other states could be asked to send their guardsmen to D.C., but the increase in National Guard troops causing major outrage. You're seeing it play out there. Dozens of anti-Trump protesters surrounding troops at the National Mall, yelling in officers' faces, telling them to leave. Now, these protesters chanting "Free D.C." They're unhappy, of course, with the federalization of D.C. and, of course, also this show of force in our nation's capital, specifically the National Guard recently being brought in. And they've been really protesting across the city. We even saw it play out today here at the White House this afternoon. Protesters just outside the White House North Lawn making their voices heard. Now, this also comes after the Department of Justice actually rolled back its plan to effectively take over the D.C. Police Department. And the Trump administration is now agreeing to rewrite the Attorney General Pam Bondi's executive order. That executive order was putting the DEA Administrator Terry Cole in charge of the NPD, the Metropolitan Police Department. Now, for now, the head of D.C. Police actually will stay in her post, and Cole will instead have to make specific requests of her agency. Now, it comes after D.C.'s Attorney General actually sued the Trump administration, arguing that the scope of the Attorney General's executive order broke federal laws. Then we saw the judge actually agree with the prosecution, going on to ask both sides to work this out. Bondi then walked back that part of her executive order, and D.C. officials quickly were chalking this up to a win. Let's take a listen to them.
In all cases, those services must be requested to the mayor to be provided by the chief of police, not a hostile takeover of our police. And if it means standing up to the president, standing up to the attorney general to ensure that the laws of our country are followed, we will do that.
But Pam Bondi is also demanding for D.C.'s mayor, Muriel Bowser, and the NPD to assist federal officers' immigration enforcement in the Capitol that we've seen play out over the last week. And that would, of course, disregard the sanctuary city policies that have been implemented here in the district. So there's going to be more hearings on that case in the coming days, something we're going to be tracking closely. But we also got these new numbers released today showing overnight that law enforcement in D.C., they actually arrested 52 people, bringing those total arrests since operations began back on August 7th to 240 people. Now, many of those people that were arrested were actually illegal immigrants, so we're getting some more numbers there. And there were also 1,800 officers involved in these operations. We know there's also 16 different federal agencies involved here. Now, the DOJ, they've got a lot on their plate. They're also charging this former trial lawyer and contractor for what you can see happening in this video. This video quickly going viral, if you haven't seen it already, showing the former DOJ staffer getting angry and ultimately hitting a law enforcement officer with a Subway sandwich. Now, that man, he has since been released from custody, but he is, of course, facing these felony assault charges, which could land him in prison for up to 8 years, Natasha.
All right, Libby Dean live at the White House with that. Thank you.
Yeah, see, seeing that, you heard that. So basically what we have here is another legal battle in which the administration is going to have to resolve the question of exactly how much authority does the federal government have over D.C., specifically the police department, because as of right now, it is established that the president, the administration can direct DC officials on what to do and how to govern, but can't necessarily step in and fire the police chief. Okay, so they can't supplant the officials, but they can tell them what to do, right? And that is why Pam Bondi has to change that executive order. So, I mean, effectively, the police department, I mean, they're still under the control of the Trump administration in the sense that, again, they have to follow the Trump administration's orders, but they can't necessarily remove the people who are running the department on a day-to-day basis, okay, like the police chief, right? That's essentially where we're at. But a lot of this stuff, again, will be worked out in court, and we're going to go from there. Regardless, this is completely and 100% necessary. I think that it shifts the conversation, the national conversation, to a place that is actually productive for the average person, right? When you talk about cracking down on crime and highlighting the fact that these liberal cities are not safe, okay, and that we definitely need to deal with crime in this country, is a good thing, right? It is a good thing that we're now talking about this again, and they can boo-hoo, whine, and cry racism all they want. But again, behind closed doors, we know that all of these individuals support this, right? All these people who are crying in the media, on the news, they support it, okay? Because nobody wants to live in a crime-infested hellhole, okay? They'll cry racism out loud, but behind closed doors, they're cheering it on, right? They love it. They love what they're saying. So, again, I think that this is a winning situation for President Trump, and hopefully we clean up DC, right? And if they can clean up DC and to make DC like a model city again, that would go a long way towards restoring sanity in this country. Again, especially in these liberal cities. Who knows? Maybe helping Republicans get elected, right? Putting pressure on Democrats to not be soft on crime, because they certainly are not on the right side of this issue. You know, they already have a stigma that they're soft on crime. They want to defund the police, and them coming out here and opposing Trump just is a mask off moment showing that, yes, Democrats are in fact soft on crime. It's the same thing with illegal immigration, right? Democrats want to pretend like they want a closed border, but yet they complain about Trump closing the border, right? Trump doing what Democrats claim that they want. Why they complain about Trump doing that? Because that's not what they want. They want an open border. They want to defund the police. They want to be soft on crime, right? This is exactly what you're going to be voting for if you vote for Democrats. But, you know, hey, a lot of these people in these liberal cities, they like living in filth. They like living in chaos, destruction. And, you know, sometimes I feel like the best thing for them is to, you know, experience the consequences of their vote. But, you know, for sane people, I think it's important to have law and order, right? Because everybody didn't vote for this. And I think it's important to protect innocent people, okay, who are just trying to live their lives. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.